Screenwriting has been around before I was born. And you had people who've tried many ways of doing things over and over again. And they found the answer through structure. So we don't need to go through that. This has already been tested. It's been tested on movie after movie after movie, and the structure works. So I would say just learn the structure. Take the time, learn how to create character, how to create subtext and great dialogue. Study. You have to do a lot of research when you're writing, and just take the time. It takes love. It takes love for the craft, love for storytelling. And when you have that love, you want to learn these things so that you can become better at it. I think a good script is having all the elements. It's having all the elements. It's like if we create a film. We can have all the elements, but if we don't have great cinematography, we don't have a good film. If we don't have great sound, we don't have a good film. So we don't have great camera shots and camera angles and lighting, we don't have a great film. So it's just all the parts working together, making sure you have great character development, making sure you have great structure, making sure your beats, things happen at a certain time, having foreshadowing, planting seeds that's going to grow later and blossom later and pay off later, making sure that your story reveals character and moves the story forward. I believe that we don't need unnecessary dialogue and unnecessary scene. We need scenes that in dialogue that's going to move our story forward and reveal character. And I think that's what makes a great script. Seeing a character start one way and look one way in the beginning, and at the end they look totally different. I believe that's a great script. Just seeing the change and the growth and the rise in conflict, the turning point, the fall in action, and the resolution, which is the same structure to a book, but a screenplay is a little bit more detailed, a little bit more. We have to make sure we introduce our theme, our inciting incident, what happens in this character's world. Our character is starting off in their ordinary world. What happens in our character's world that's going to change their life? And then when this change happens, our character doesn't immediately accept it because we don't like change. We're going to reject that change until we have no choice but to accept it. And then we go on a journey from our act 1 into act 2. And that, and then we have to face a new conflict and a new antagonist. And it's about overcoming those conflicts, overcoming those battles and those struggles. And just a lot of suspense too is good when you write film, rather it be drama, comedy, what have you, is great. We get to that midpoint where we learn something new about our character that we didn't know. And that's amazing to do that and just show how our character has to keep losing. Our main character is going to keep losing until they change that one thing that needs to be changed. And then when they change it, they win. I'm a very raw, gritty writer, and so I get my inspiration from life experiences. My life, growing up in the South Bronx to a mother who was hooked on drugs, being offered to smoke crack at 9 years old, going through foster care, going through abuse, and being made to feel like my needs and my wants was never important. Everybody was always put before me. So just the people that I've met, the places that I've been, that's how I create my character, because my characters, because they're real to me. I get to know people, I speak to people, I talk to them, I watch their mannerisms, I spend time with them. That's how I create my characters. So all of my characters are real. They're people that I've met at some point in life and spent time with. I always say I look at life, or knowledge and understanding is very important. Knowledge is having a box of cake and you see the ingredients on the back. You see eggs, you need eggs, oil, milk or water or whatever to make the cake. And every time you make the cake, you look at the ingredients. That's the instructions. That's the knowledge. That's like reading something out of a book. But then after you make it so many times, you don't have to read the back of the box because you've made it so many times, you know what you need. And sometimes you can add your own little something to it, right? Spices to it to make it different or give it your own personal touch. But then and I call that wisdom. But then the understanding is understanding the process of a cake. What makes it rise and what makes it fall. And that's when you go through it certain times. You have to go through things to have an understanding. And that's what I believe when it comes to writing. We have to have an understanding of what we're writing. So I stay in my lane. My characters are developed, and a lot of my stories are developed based on real life experiences.